it is also the learning rate. Okay.
Okay.
So delta times the gradient decides the actual step size of the weight, or the change in the weight which we will do with this epoch.
Okay, sir.
So this is the algorithm for doing the back propagation, and choose a min batch size for the training set. Do forward propagation, which is done by the training algorithm. Okay, forward based on the existing labels, and then we compute capital L. Then we'll do back propagation, where we'll compute the derivative with respect to each weight, and then we update the weights. And this is one epoch. Now we run the codes for neural network for image classification. I think we would be able to cover only this much for today. And this is one example. Now I should show you what is this convolution operation. I've taken this visualization from a popular website towards data science, but it does a good job of showing what is a convolution operation. So there is a convolution kernel, and that convolution kernel is moved at each step, and we get the convolved features. So it's a very simple image, and we apply a kernel, we compute the product of the kernel at each location, we sum up all those values, and then how that we get the convolved features. This is for an image which is very simple. That means it has only black and white values, a binary image. We can do the same thing for an RGB image. Okay, and these are the different convolution kernels: -1, -1, 1, 0, 1, -1, 0, 1, 1. -1, -1, 1, 0, 1, 1, -1, 0, 1, 1. So we'll take this kernel, place it at a location, and we'll compute the product, element by element product of this matrix with the image matrix, and sum up all those values, and that is put in the output. And usually a convolution operation is followed by a pooling operation. There are different types of pooling: max pooling, average pooling, and so on. So over to you, Urvi, to run the part of neural networks. This is how the convolution kernel moves, which you have already seen.
Hello everyone, my name is Urvi Gora, and I'm
Hello.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's look about training neural network classifier. So first of all, we need to load the libraries from the Keras, TensorFlow.keras. So let's just not focus on this function right now. We will come to know as we go. So as a first task, what we need to do is that we need to convert the labels to one hot encode values. Now, what is one hot encode value is? So for example, I'm giving this MNIST data set image to the neural network. And so what the output of neural network would be a vector of values 10 values, which means that each position in the vector represents the probability value predicted for that particular class label. So for example, if the highest class value is on the first position, which means that the predicted label is 0, and so on. So for that, we need to convert our labels into hot encode values, so that, for example, for a particular image X, if my label is 5. So what I will do is that I will create a vector of size 10, and then I will have I will initialize this vector with 0 value, and the fifth position of the vector would be 1, and other than fifth, all the 9 values would be 0. So this is how we convert our labels to hot and cold values, which can be done using this function to categorical. So if you want to give your image to the neural network, you need to convert your labels via this method. So we have the images, we have the input ready, which is in the form of vectors, and we have the labels ready, which is also in form of one hot and cold vector. Now let's define the neural network architecture. Here we will use this model is equal to sequentials. Now what is the sequential is that it is a stack of layers. What we will do is, let's say we have one box where we will put the each layer, input layer, then the hidden layers, and the output layers. So the sequential can be, you can understand it as a box, and in that box we will put all the layers. So we will give the input to this box, where the first layer which I have defined here is dense layer. Dense layer means a normal layer which will just multiply with the weights and will have the functions, which sir has already showed it in the PPT. So I have just added one simple layer, dense layer, which has 100 neurons. 100 neuron is there. And the input given to this layer would be 784, which is the size of our input vector, which we already converted. Okay, and what is the activation function here? It is ReLU activation function. You can read about ReLU activation function on internet. And after this layer, so this is the first layer, and then I am just adding the output layer. So this particular network is having only 3 layers. The first is input layer, which is the input image given. The second is this hidden layer, which has 100 neurons. And the third is output layer, which has 10 as output value, which will give the 10 prediction values. And the activation function here is softmax activation function. So this was the architecture of model. Now we need to define some parameters like what would be the optimizer, what would be the metrics we will use, and etc. So here I'm using SGD optimizer function with learning rate is equal to 0.0001, and I'm just initializing this SGD function, which is available in Keras. And loss function, which I'm using here, because we are doing this multi-class classification, I'm using here categorical cross entropy loss function. So it is a loss function, one of the loss function which is used for multi-class classification. And I'm just giving optimizer value. And what I want is I want to use accuracy value for each epoch. So as sir already said, we have the network ready. Now we will pass the data set to this network. So one single pass along with forward pass and backward pass is considered as one epoch. So we have defined this architecture. Now let's train the model. To train the model, again, we will use this fit method. Model.fit. We will give the train digits. We will give the train labels. So it is input and output, and we will define the epochs. So I'm training it for 20 epochs, which means the entire data set would be passed through the network 20 times. And in this process, the weights would be set, the weights would be changed such that we can have a maximum accuracy. So for each, when you run this, for each epoch, you will get the loss values and the accuracy values. So you can see that as I increase, as I go with the training, from second epoch, you can see that accuracy is changing, it is increasing. So we are increasing the accuracy, we are having the increment in the accuracy. So I have trained here for 20 epochs. Now it is again the way of like when you work with deep learning models, you need to decide at which epoch you want to stop. It is again once you work with it, you will be able to know it. There is no any hard rule. The one hard rule which you can say is that when you know that your model is overfitting, which means that your training accuracy is not increasing or it is just saturating, then you stop. So this is and based on that we decide number of epochs. Right now I'm just showing the random value of 20, which we can see that the accuracy is still increasing. And so this is how we train the train the model, and then we will use model.evaluate along with the test digits and test levels will be given to it, and we will be having the accuracy. So for test data set, we are having 94.74% accuracy, whereas the training accuracy which we got at the last is 96.52%. So this was for the simple single layer architecture, network architecture. Now we can add more layers to it. Let's say we can have one layer of 5 and 2 neurons, which the output of this dense layer would be given to the next dense layer, which would be having 256 neurons. Same way we can give the output of this layer to the next layer, which is having 100 neurons, and the output layer. So this way you can have multiple layers, and so when you increase the number of layers, it may be possible that your accuracy would get better. Here in this case, you can see that we are reaching almost 99% accuracy, training accuracy. And when we do the same thing, like model.evaluate after training the model, we are having 96.28% accuracy, test accuracy. So this is the output of adding more layers to the network. But again, there is no hard rule. The architecture can be defined based on the data set, the distribution of the data, and certain other parameters. So this is not like you just train it for once and you'll get the best output. You need to train it again and again with the change in hyperparameters and the change in the architecture, and this way you can have a best accuracy. So these are just normal layers. The dense layers are normal layers, neural network. If you want to use the CNN, which is convolution neural network, again we need to reshape the data. Why? Because CNN requires image input in the form of image. So for the earlier approaches, we changed the for the earlier approaches, what we did was that we changed the image to vector format. But in this case, when we use the CNN, we don't want the vector format. We want, okay, and here our image is in the form of 28 cross 28. We need to reshape it according to the requirement of CNN, which is 28 cross 28 cross 1. Because generally when we give input images to the network, it is 28 cross 28 cross 3. It is RGB image. But because we are giving the grayscale image, we need to convert it to the cross 1 parameter. The dimension of last parameter should be 1. So this is just how we reshape the data. You just need to make sure that before applying any model, any machine learning or deep learning model, you just need to take care of the input requirements of the model. And based on that, you need to apply reshape function. As I said, in the CNN, we require to change the shape of this input array by adding the one more dimension to it. So this is how we reshape the data, and then we define the CNN architecture. Again, we will have the one stack sequential, and then the first layer we add is convolution layer, convolution 2D. Here 32 is the number of filters in it, and the size of the filter is 3 cross 3, and the activation is ReLU, and we have initialized it with HE uniform. It is so the value the weights are initialized with the values which are randomly selected from this HE uniform distribution. And we are also giving the input shape. So it is 28 cross 28 or 28 cross 1. So I'm giving this one convolution. I'm adding this one convolution layer, then the max pooling layer. And after that, we will give the output of max pooling layer to the dense layer. Now, again, the data at this point, after applying max pooling, is in the form of image. It is multidimensional array. But if you want to give it to the dense layer, we need to convert it to the vector format. And for that, we can use this function flatten. Now, adding the flatten, what it will do is that it will it will flat the values and will give to the next layer, which is dense layer. So we will have first dense layer with 100 neurons, and the output layers with 10 neurons, 10 output values with softmax activation function. So this is how you can define the convolution neural network. It is very basic architecture, and I have just added one convolution and one max pooling layer. And similarly, you can define the optimizer and the loss function, and you can train the network. And here we are having 96.84% test accuracy. So this is just about, you need to check the hyperparameters. You may need to change the hyperparameters again and again to get the best output. So this was it from my side. So if, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Urvi, and thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, we have few minutes to take up some of your questions. If you don't have questions, I will ask you a question. Let's see.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I'm having doubt with, because I'm not aware with this field very much. So regarding that one hot encoding, so what I understood, whether it is correct or not, suppose for some parameter, if I have four values for it, say 1, 2, 3, 4. So whether it will convert it into 4 columns, where in each row entry in one of the element may be 1 and in it will be 0, or it is different.
I am sorry, but I didn't understand your question well. Urvi, did you get the question?
Ma'am, are you asking that how we will convert it to the vector?
No, you had as one of the step we had taken one hot encoding.
Yes, yes.
Suppose if I have, suppose rain as one of the feature, right? And I have 3 possible answer: no rain, light rain, and heavy rain. And if I apply to the entire column, to the entire feature, if I apply one hot encoding, then whether it generates 3 columns, and then the values may be 100 or 010 or 001.
Yes, yes, yes.
So whether I understood it's correct or not, I just want to.
Yes, actually it is just for, because when we compare the output given by the model, which would be in the form of vector, which will give 3 probability values, right? The output
Yes.
of the neural network. And if you want to compare the both the values in loss function, that's why we are converting to the one hot encode vector, so that only the correct class would have value 1 and other would be 0.
Okay, right.
Are you getting the point?
So only 2 possibilities in each of the column or feature, which is 1 and 0.
Yes, 1 or 0. Yes.
Okay, correct. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Any other question? Anyone else want to have some doubts clarified? Otherwise, I will ask you a question. What will be the result of flattening this image? The image which I am showing, what will be the result of flattening this image? Anyone? I'll end with that, because flatten function is used quite often. So if someone wants to guess what is this flattening function doing, or tell us what will be the output of the flattening function. Chat. No, not 25. Flatten function will give you this 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, and 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. So it takes this row, and it will make a vector like that. And after making a vector, if you sum it up and the answer is 25, that is fine. But if it's making a flat vector, then it will be just this concatenation of the rows. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It was very inspiring to see such a big attendance.
Thank you very much, sir, for a very nice combination of theory and practice. All the participants got a good exposure to Google Colab and also the Python for ML techniques. Thank you very much to you and Urvi madam also for taking this effort. On behalf of the participants and the organizers, I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you, Raghuram. Shall we
Thank you, sir.
leave?
Yes, sir, of course, please. Participants also, we will end this session here. We'll continue tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you.